Picture this. The year is 330 AD. Rome is old, weary, crumbling under the weight of corruption and decay. Far to the east, its emperor, Constantine, stands overlooking his new Rome, the city of Constantinople, formerly a little town called Byzantion. From here, he will rule his empire, which stretches from the Atlantic coast to the Tigris, from Hadrian's Wall in the rainy north to Nubia in Africa. Little does he know that over the next 150 years, the western part of his empire will crumble completely until even Rome itself falls. But the eastern part of his empire, the eastern part will endure for 1,000 more years, preserving Greek culture and seeding the Renaissance. In its early centuries, emperors restructured the Roman legacy into a Christian state. Greek became the language of the court, Orthodox Christianity its spiritual compass. Constantine's dream grows into a complex mosaic of faith, diplomacy, and warfare. Then comes Justinian I, the emperor whose ambition nearly rekindles Rome's western glory. His generals reclaim territories in North Africa, Italy, even parts of Spain. His legal reforms, the Corpus Juris Civilis, become the blueprint for law in Europe. And the Hagia Sophia, with its floating dome and celestial light, rises as a symbol of both spiritual grace and imperial majesty, still standing today. But with glory comes challenge. From the deserts to the east, a new religion has been born, and its forces surge west, sweeping through once Byzantine lands. Internally, the empire faces theological storms, debates over icons, councils defining doctrine, schisms carving deep divisions in Christendom. But through it all, the empire remains, flexing, adapting, surviving. Then, in 1054, the Great Schism. East and West part ways in a fracture that endures to this day. Constantinople becomes the proud heart of Orthodox Christianity. But away from the Western Church, its isolation grows until in 1204, betrayal. Crusaders from the West, meant to fight the heathen for control of the Holy Lands, sack Constantinople itself. Churches are desecrated, treasures looted, and for 50 years, a Latin empire rules the city. But the Byzantines claw their way back. A weakened, fractured version of their former selves, yes, but still standing. Until May the 29th, 1453. As dawn breaks, the great Theodosian walls of Constantinople tremble beneath cannon fire. They have held for a millennium protecting the city, but they are finally unable to stop Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire. The last emperor, Constantine XI, dies defending his city. Some isolated cities remain, clinging to the last vestiges of the empire, but to all intents and purposes, the Byzantine Empire has passed into history. But its legacy is undeniable. Byzantium preserved the wisdom of antiquity, shaped Orthodox Christianity, influenced art, architecture, and law from Russia to the Balkans. Its beauty, its drama, its contradictions all continue to captivate historians, theologians, and dreamers alike. The Byzantine Empire played a crucial role in preserving and transmitting classical knowledge that became foundational to the Renaissance. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Byzantium remained a bastion of Greco-Roman culture, safeguarding ancient Greek texts on philosophy, on science, and Greek literature. Byzantine scholars maintained extensive libraries, particularly in Constantinople, where works by Plato, Aristotle, and other classical thinkers were copied and studied. When the Ottoman Turks threatened Byzantium in the 14th and 15th centuries, many of these scholars fled to Italy, bringing invaluable manuscripts with them. Their arrival helped ignite the humanist movement, a key intellectual force behind the Renaissance. Byzantine scholars, such as Manuel Chrysalis, who taught Greek in Florence, directly influenced Italian humanists by reintroducing the study of the ancient Greek language and literature. This allowed Renaissance thinkers to engage directly with original texts, rather than relying on Latin translations. Byzantine artistic traditions also left their mark, particularly in the use of gold mosaics, religious iconography, and architectural techniques seen in Venice and Florentine art. The fusion of Byzantine and classical styles contributed to the development of Renaissance aesthetics, as seen in the works of artists like Giotto and Michelangelo. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 accelerated the migration of Byzantine intellectuals to the West, further enriching Renaissance scholarship. The influx of Greek manuscripts and expertise bolstered universities and courts across Italy. Without the Byzantine Empire's preservation of classical knowledge and its cultural exchange with the Italian city-states, the Renaissance might not have flourished as it did. Byzantium served as a bridge between antiquity and the rebirth of European thought. Despite its profound influence on the Renaissance and Western civilization more broadly, the Byzantine Empire has often been marginalized in historical memory. This neglect stems from a combination of Western bias, Enlightenment-era historiography, particularly Edward Gibbon's influence, and the empire's complex identity between East and West. Edward Gibbon's The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire played a major role in shaping negative perceptions of Byzantium. Gibbon portrayed the empire as a decadent, superstitious, and bureaucratic shadow of Rome, mired in theological squabbles and court intrigues. His Enlightenment-era disdain for Christianity and his preference for pagan Rome led him to dismiss Byzantium as a tedious and uniform tale of weakness and misery. Because Gibbon's work became the dominant narrative in English-speaking historiography, his biases influenced generations of scholars to overlook Byzantium's achievements. More generally, Western, medieval, and Renaissance writers often viewed Byzantium with suspicion or hostility. The Great Schism of 1054 between the Eastern Orthodox and the Western Roman Catholic churches deepened the divide, and the Fourth Crusade's sack of Constantinople in 1204 left lasting resentment. Later Protestant and Catholic historians tended to frame European history as a linear progression from Rome to the Renaissance, skipping over Byzantium as an alien Greek or Oriental entity. This Eurocentric perspective minimized Byzantium's role as the preserver of classical knowledge. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453, Western Europe increasingly saw Byzantium through the lens of Ottoman rule, associating it with the exotic East rather than as part of the European tradition. The empire's Greek identity distanced it from the Latin West, which preferred to trace its roots directly to ancient Rome rather than acknowledge Byzantium's continuity. In recent decades, though, scholars have challenged Gibbon's legacy, emphasizing Byzantium's military resilience, its economic sophistication, and its cultural brilliance. The empire lasted for over 1,100 years after Rome's fall. That alone demands respect. But despite this academic shift, popular history still often overlooks Byzantium, partly because it doesn't fit neatly into the standard Western narrative of progress from antiquity to modernity. Byzantium wasn't so much forgotten as deliberately sidelined by historians who saw it as irrelevant or inferior. Gibbon's influence was significant, but broader cultural and religious biases also played a role. But thankfully, modern scholarship is correcting this oversight, revealing Byzantium as a vital civilization, one that shaped the Renaissance and the modern world far more than many realize. So, in this series, we'll look at some of the emperors that shaped Byzantium and guided it through its 1,000-year history. We'll start, of course, with Constantine I, Constantine the Great, the founder of Christendom, who united the empire under Christianity and laid the foundations of Byzantium's transformation into a Christian empire. Theodosius I, the last unifier, who made Christianity the state religion and was the last emperor to rule over both East and West. Justinian I, the lawgiver and restorer, who codified Roman law and attempted to restore the empire's former glory through conquest and huge building projects. Heraclius, the resilient reformer, who reorganized the empire's military and administration, successfully repelling Persian invasions but losing territory to emerging Arab forces. Leo III, the iconoclast initiator, who saved Constantinople from siege but initiated the controversial policy of iconoclasm that reshaped Byzantine religious life. Basil I, the Macedonian founder, who founded the Macedonian dynasty, which brought the empire a renaissance of strength and cultural revival. Basil II, the conqueror emperor, who expanded Byzantine territory to its greatest medieval extent and defeated the Bulgarians, solidifying imperial power. Romanos IV Diogenes, the ill-fated warrior, who tried to halt Seljuk advances but was defeated disastrously at Manzikert, marking the beginning of Byzantine territorial decline. Alexios I Komnenos, the restorer of stability, who recovered much territory and revitalized the empire, setting the stage for the Komnenian restoration. John II Komnenos, the just and wise, who maintained and strengthened the empire's stability and military power. Manuel I Komnenos, the ambitious diplomat, who tried to restore Byzantine dominance through military campaigns and diplomatic alliances, but overstretched the empire's resources. And finally, Constantine XI Palaiologos, the last defender, who died defending Constantinople in its final siege, symbolizing the end of the Byzantine Empire. The lives of these 12 emperors will be our guide through more than 1,000 years of history, allowing us to see the true legacy of the overlooked Byzantine Empire. I hope you'll join me for the next episode when we begin with the foundation of Constantinople and the background that brought Constantine to the throne. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a great day.